Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual Railroading Academy. Railroaders play railroads online. I am Casey,
And I am Nick.
and tonight's topic is the local freight. But I think we have some stuff to talk about before we get into that, right, Nick? Today's a kind of a sad day in preservation.
It especially when it comes to our shared love of steam railroading.
Uh, I'm not sure how many people out there have heard the news, but Jim Rinn, the editor of Trains magazine, has uh, tragically passed away of, I believe, the pancreatic cancer, is what
Yes.
people are saying. And we just want to dedicate tonight's stream to him and, in Railroader fashion, a little whistle salute to say thank you for everything you've done. And now on with the show, I guess.
Yes, man, I got chills when you did that. That was
Um,
something. And I think that I don't know if he had an awareness of this game or not, but I'm sure that he would be thrilled that this is yet another tool bringing people into the the past of steam railroading and getting people hooked into trains in general.
I think if he knew about it, he'd appreciate it. Um, as a tool to hook people in and capture that younger audience. And I think I got chills doing that myself. The whistle salute is an important thing for railroaders when they pass away. It's time-honored tradition. Um, I was firing on 9/11 this year, and we did a 60-second whistle salute, and the engineer actually brought me to tears as he was blowing the whistle. It was bone-chilling,
Mm.
but in a
and and also there's in some cases folks who request to have their cremated remains thrown into the firebox
mhm,
as well. I've heard of that
I've I have
occurring
fired.
regularly.
I've been around for one of those events. I've yet to fire, but those are bone-chilling too. You know, some guys have figured out how to make the whistle um, cry, and it makes those memorials just. I don't even have a good word for it, but it makes those memorials all the more special.
It's one of the things I really appreciate about this game is how much the power to quill the whistle gives you, because I've read so many times that engineers have their own distinct whistle styles so that if you live near a railroad you can tell who's operating the train that day just based on the whistle. And but doing that in previous sims where it's just sort of an on off thing, you don't get that. But here I've even developed my own,
Oh,
so
it's nice
it's
to
so
be able
much
to
fun.
carry mine into game, because I mean my grade crossings. That's my whistle, and being able to do that in game is actually pretty cool. Um, it's a it adds a nice fun element to it, and you can get bone chilling things like that where you really cool the whistle nice and slow and say we miss you to someone, or just have fun and play jingle bells like Ninja Cat does.
Exactly. So
Uh,
we've got a local to run today,
we
is that
we
correct?
we do. We have train 601, the local freight stopping at Oil Field and Iron Works. Oil Field again and back to Hill Valley Yard. And we do have a first class passenger train to contend with while we're out there as well. Um,
Good.
we're what's known as a third class train, We're the lowest ranked thing on the railroad that's not an extra, which ranks lower than us. Um, and Hostler, you wanna work with us? You wanna? There's the passenger train going out tonight. You wanna hop on with them as we pass, or what? What do you wanna do?
Totally up to you.
All right. Let me know. But we'll maybe switch halfway through. I don't know. We'll see how much work we have. We may need 3 people or a 3-man crew. So we got our engine here. We're all fired up. We'll head on out and tie on to our train.
Wiggy, how are we on handbrakes back there in the cabooses?
Yeah. Are we taking everything in Mohonk?
I posted a waybill for you guys in the waybill channel on Discord.
Look at
Okay.
that first.
There's 2 things that make me particularly happy. One
Yes.
is the knowledge that we're running with tank cars, because I love running with tank cars in this game. And number 2 is we don't have to contend with the refinery hill tonight.
Yes, I am
Since that's
equally
something to
excited
be
about
built.
that.
That will
I've
be
yet to rebuild that refinery hill, and I'm not sure if I'm ever going to, purely because of the announcement that the spline update that we've all been waiting for is going to be coming in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Train 98 dispatch.
Yeah, go ahead, 98.
We are ready to depart Mohonk. We have our train together.
All right, copy that. Stand by. I'm going to be sending you guys a Form 19. While I'm writing that, would someone else like to run engine 40 and bring it over to the train on departure 1?
Got it.
Alright, I'll be right back.
Feel like that's a song by the animated band Gorillaz, Up on Refinery Hill.
Ah, it does sound like a song.
Yep.
Okay, so what's your marker policy for first class trains?
You don't need you need markers and that's it.
Because you're scheduled.
Yeah, because you're scheduled.
Okay.
So you don't need class lamps. If we had a section following you, I'd say go ahead and throw some greens up there. But we're yet to run train. Although that may be fun to run sections one day.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how that plays out, especially when, because there's enough cargo to move that you could build it as such, especially when the scheduling can get more specific.
And when we could actually run more than 4 trains at a time before everything slows down on my end.
Also true. Multiple advantages.
What's your lead engine number there, Rudy?
Number 4 in the lead. 4, then number 8, then the 3 flat cars you're picking up in Mohonk, and then our 3 passenger cars.
Copy that.
On the
Okay.
subject.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Squiggy.
I said I'm back and ready for everybody whenever it is.
Just waiting for an order. Yeah, Form 19.
And on the subject of things pertaining to scheduling and timetable and train order, we are always grateful to have you guys tuning in on Wednesdays. I know we were trumpeting Fridays, but now Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. We're hoping that that works with your schedules, and we encourage you to type your comments, questions if you're watching us live, and we are more than happy to answer them. Of course, you are in the company of real railroaders, folks who work on freight trains, steam trains, and the like for a living, or me, who does not, but who interviews real life railroaders on the Roundhouse podcast, and thus can ask Can also ask people who may know a thing or two.
I am
Shouldn't
just
wish that.
typing up thinking as I type up the Form 19 here, and the Form 19 is a dispatching tool. It is a train order. Think of it as a predecessor to the Form D. And it's essentially a blank sheet of paper, where you can where the dispatcher will write the orders on of what the train is going to be doing, meets, slow orders, the likes. Um, for extras, giving them permission between certain locations. Um, it's basically a blank sheet of paper, and I know I've said this a couple of times, but I really got to set it up on my computer so that way you can see as I'm working on these, and we can get a sense of what's going on.
Form Ds are fun.
I like Form 19s better.
I mean, yes, but I've always been one to love the paperwork when I operate um, operating sessions for model railroads. The more paperwork, the better.
All right, train order is up for train 601 and train 98.
Okay.
All right, once we are hooked on 601, we can I guess I'll run. Once we have our handbrakes knocked off, we can get out of Dodge and make sure we're leaving everything for the main line behind us.
Okay, pins in, handbrakes are knocked off, and the coffee's on the pot.
All right.
Swiggy, we are clear to depart. We need to go to Mile Long Yard and wait for the local to pass us.
All right.
We're getting this out of here, I guess.
Yeah, I think we should beat you guys there if my math's correct.
I don't know. You got a couple of hotshot engineers here running double-headed, so.
This is true. We also do have quite a hefty train. So, as we were talking about the other week of easing up the throttle, getting everything moving slow, taking up our slack. I know I'm moving, and it's gonna take me a while to accelerate. I'm just gonna take that throttle back quite a fair bit, and get us underway and up to speed as we come through the yard here.
Yep. And yeah, my throttle's at 30%.
Okay. We probably don't even need the second engine here. We're on flat ground, so.
And you're
We're gonna
all
be
light cars and empty there.
Yeah. We've only got 3 empties and 3
If you
passenger
had, like,
cars. So.
box cars and hoppers, then maybe.
And now that we are underway, I am going to go AFK for a moment and be right back after these messages.
We don't need theme music. Or do we? I don't know. Let us know out there if everything's sounding okay, if we need to adjust volumes anywhere. Always appreciated. But yes, we're the local freight tonight. Kind of a special thing amongst the railroaders is the local freight. It's kind of the lowest on the totem pole, but the most important. It's where most of the industries get actually serviced, most of the cars still get delivered. Hostler, you want to normal that switch up behind us so it goes past the freight depot?
Copy that.
We're crap. Oh yeah, we're still on the tracks. We're the train that does all the work on the railroad. And it's our job to get our work done but stay out of the way of everyone else. And we can get a little bit into timetable and train order stuff in this because that's kind of relevant. Like I said, we're a third-class train. We're the lowest on the totem pole. Just let me know when you're back on, Hostler.
I'm back on board. Switch is normalized.
Normal. And yeah, it's our job to run quick, get out of the way, and deliver our industries. Did a little bit of freight work when I was working for a short line railroad in Jersey. Occasionally helping out as long as we didn't venture out onto NS. Because, I could hop on crew and help out as brakeman for some of our conductors. So, kind of used to the local stuff. Never really had long trains, but, still, taking care of the industries. Never really had to run around passenger trains, unfortunately. Had to run around test stuff and stay out of the way of, well, I guess the test trains had to stay out of the way of us because they were an extra. We were scheduled. Am I the only one who's... Rudy, you've done freight, right?
Yeah. Almost exclusively, I didn't have a whole lot of passenger experience. I mean, some we did, some excursion trains here and there and whatnot, but most of my experience was dispatcher or brakeman or just train master in some form of freight service.
Yeah, so, we've got some freight experience here amongst us. Not a whole lot on my end, unfortunately. Though, all the freight work I did, I always enjoyed. I thought it was more fun than doing the passenger stuff. Because you weren't just going back and forth 4 or 5 times a day. You were actually doing stuff in between, which was nice. And getting to work on hand signals with the crew is a lot of fun. You pick up a train from the interchange and it's just not blocked at all. Everything's a hot mess, and you kind of have to work around that. And grade crossing, killing a few people here. Having to it's a puzzle, and it's a fun puzzle, and I enjoy those kinds of things. Don't get me wrong, I love the current railroad that I'm at, running passenger trains with steam, and it's an absolute blast. But I miss the freight aspect. I miss having to really plan out my switching moves, and have a nice long drill, drilling out your train and getting to ride on the side of cars and hopping off on the move and cooping back up on the move. It's a fun time, and it's it's a good time. Short line freight is kind of where it's at right now in terms of the railroad world.
Yep.
My train tonight is fairly well blocked out, more or less. A little weird in places, but yeah, we'll make it work.
I've blocked the train out of my memory too. Oh wait, no, that's not quite right.
I mean, that also feels like it could be a song.
I've blocked this train out of memory. Yeah, it sounds like a very nostalgic song.
It sounds like a nice country western song.
And it could either mean that you're so familiar with how the train should be arranged that you're doing it out of memory, or you're so fed up with it that you're trying to remove it from your memory. The double meaning, playing with the double meaning is fun. So, I'll throw the first, at least what I'm aware of, being the first question of the evening, which is blocking in general. So, with short line railroading, other than needing to make sure the cars get where they need to go and maybe putting them in places in the train to make switching easier. Are there concerns about the weight of the cars in relation to one another, and does that factor into the blocking here?
I think that's a perfect question for Rudy, actually, because we were mostly flat-ish railroad, and we didn't get very heavy trains. A lot of lumber, a lot of ballast hoppers, gravel hoppers. So blocking wasn't a huge issue for us. It was just getting things arranged in a way that made work easier. But Rudy, why don't you tell us about blocking as a dispatcher and what you did with that? You had some interesting railroad you were running.
Yeah, we didn't usually have a long enough train that was a big issue. You know, if you got a 3-car train, you're not going to string line in a curve.
No.
You know, we used to run the refinery or something. We operated. We would have a 35-car train, but it was on a big swooping curve and it was flat. So we weren't really worried about which ones were empties, which ones were loads. The only time it really became an issue was on our main route. We have a 4% grade, which was pretty cool. And on a tight curve. And if we were coming up that grade with more than about 10 cars, we'd actually have to switch it out, the order the cars were in, and make sure that, like, we didn't have an empty 2 cars deep in the train, because we could string line that empty on that curve. And string lining is when you pull the train. If you got pressure on both ends of a rail car in a curve, you could very easily make that rail car want to take the shortest route between the 2 points, which is straight and not around the curve.
So what NS does through Horseshoe Curve like 12 times a year?
Yeah. Yeah, so we would actually have to think about that a little bit if we had a longer train going up that we used to call it the ramp. That's exactly what it was. If we had to bring a longer train up that ramp on a tight curve at a 4% grade, and this is standard gauge railroading, not narrow gauge. Standard gauge 4% grade. We would have to do some serious thinking about how we were going to do that without making a mess out of our track work or our train. So.
Someone want to get my switch up here? We're coming into a mile long.
As are we.
Oh, this is gonna be perfect.
So.
Ooh, rolling meats. The best kind.
So we are just passing the yard throat on the south end of the yard.
We're just coming into the yard throat on the north end of the yard. So this is gonna be cool, guys. You're fantastic view we're gonna get here.
And I believe the first rolling meat has been executed here.
I look forward to it.
We had one. I was just cutting clips up today of our very first stream. We had a rolling meet on the first one with a passenger train and a coal drag.
Ah, excellent.
At Tank Creek, and nothing ever stopped moving.
That's right. Sure, we did that.
It was shortly before Nick and I demonstrated what happens when you stall on a hill with a heavy train.
No, I meant the first rolling meat at this yard, not.
Oh, at this
not
yard.
On this
I think Rudy had a rolling meet at this yard with his own train.
Yes, that we did do.
Oh.
I had a rolling meet at this yard with my own train. How many cars do I have to clear there?
Oh, 6.
Okay.
Squiggy, you might want to kill that throttle. Make sure they get clear before we run through the switch.
You're gonna be good.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got the switch lined and locked.
Okay, good, perfect.
Normal.
Oh, this is super cool. I'm gonna stand up here and watch this meet happen.
Off to Hill Valley then.
Have fun.
There should be 3 cars there for us to pick up somewhere, right?
Yeah, over in storage yard.
Okay.
Well, these tank cars are heavy. They're just shoving me.
Yeah, we didn't even have to stop the passenger train.
That's how it goes. That's the correct meat for
Mm-hmm.
first class and third class. That's how this should go. All right.
The passenger train crew not caring, and the freight train crew freaking out to get out of the way in time.
Yep.
That's pretty normal.
That's 100% how it goes. Yeah, I think it's in the CFR. Like it's a required thing by law.
The level of panic must be measured at a certain level.
See you guys coming like, hey, how many cars out am I? Say, okay, throttle all the way out. Let's go. Notch 8 in sand. All right, let's shove back into the passing track in the refinery, and we'll drop off our beams, reassemble our train on the passing track, then we'll spot the tank car solo. So that way we have a little bit of, well, because the tank cars are in the front, because they're the heaviest. Sound good, guys?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
You're good to make your shove.
here we come back, 601.
Here's an easy question. What is the CFR?
Code of Federal Regulations. It is the Bible for the government.
Yeah, it's the FRA Bible.
And not even the FRA Bible. It's like literally how the government is supposed to operate.
Oh.
It's the Bible for how the country is
true.
supposed to operate outside of the like. It essentially supplements the Constitution, and it's like here, like the Constitution says this is how Congress works. Here's how, like here, like the rules.
Yeah.
And then there's
CFR Port 49 is the way the railroads operate.
yeah, or transportation. Part 200 is the how the railroads operate.
It's like 200 through a lot beyond that.
It's 200 through. It goes up to 290.
Yeah.
Cost part 300, I think, is Coast Guard is shipping.
Squiggy, we gotta stop here.
Yep.
So they better not come up with too many more laws, or they're going to run out of numbers.
Just more appendices.
Oh, that works.
It's just there's a couple of appendices that go up to like I think part 230 goes up to E or F.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, I was
230
gonna
is what governs the steam engines.
Right. Yeah, I was just going to mention that one. I think that's the one that probably most rail fans are familiar with.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, Quasing and stuff is in the 220 somewhere.
mhm.
223 or 229 or something. Rough. Tells you have to have bulletproof glass.
Mhm.
Oh, right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You have 232, which is like your passenger car stuff. And there's a nice new part in there specifically written for tourist railroads that they finally took out of an appendix and made its own part of the rule. 240 and 242 are your engineering and conductor certificates, and how those are and how those training programs are supposed to go. But yeah, that's the CFR. It's the laws we follow to run trains.
Yeah. Squiggy, we can go. I just went and checked the station. There's nobody here, so we're fine.
Are we, Casey, we going straight?
Yeah, straight
okay.
between the there's the straight route between the oil loading and unloading.
Gotcha.
We'll drop these beam cars and we'll drop the caboose and the flats in there and go back and do the beam cars and then spot our tank cars.
Perfect. As we are beaming with pride.
Yeah.
Eh.
First fun of the day, people. We gotta take it out.
We're hitting it off early.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, as we're doing this, continuing with our themes as we've talked about, just keeping a nice even pace, shoving not too terribly quickly, because we're going to do a lot of switching. So I don't want to highball through here and then have to slam on the brakes. I want to be nice and controlled, which is going to matter a lot once we get air brake. or train brakes at least. We have something that qualifies as air brake right now, barely.
Not in the Eureka's.
It barely qualifies.
I think in the Eurekas you'd be better off just putting your foot
I was gonna
on
say,
the wheel.
yeah, I was a
just
Flintstones
stopping in
version,
Flint
just
style.
How many
do the
more do I have to go here?
Flintstones thing and just put your feet in the ground.
Now Betsy, on the other hand,
Am
the
I?
04 Porters. Yes, you are.
Okay.
Betsy, man, you could stop her on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it is great braking to, like, its braking ability is amazing because of how many brakes there are per wheel. Like, it's just, it's 1-to-1. Whereas if we look on the Mogul, you have,
Mm-hmm.
2 shoes per side. So it's not that's not a lot of braking force. Because that wheel's not braked, your pony truck's not braked. And I'll argue that your tender's supposed to be braked, but it doesn't look like it is.
Like I said, Betsy stops on a dime because Betsy's the equivalent of like sticking sticking your spokes.
This is true.
Also true.
Alright.
Twitch is lined for the load track.
Why are those beam cars rolling? We gotta
I got a handbrake on them, but they keep going.
we gotta put those over a track.
They're gonna do it themselves.
No, those need to be on the unloading track. Or do we want to spot tank cars first?
Well, at this rate, we might as well spot the tank cars first.
Okay. Well,
Train 98 is just past the yard board for Hill Valley Yard.
Train 98 entering Hill Valley Yard. You should be lined up for the main.
Okay. We'll do our drill and get out of here. I assume we're continuing.
Yeah, you guys can go all the way tonight. Just one way. Not gonna do a round trip tonight. So fun trick with these, and when I shouldn't say learning how to run diesels, cause it wasn't supposed to be at the time. But that's a story for another time. When learning about switching freight, was always taught to like if you really needed to spot something tight, take a set and then shove against it. So that way you, as soon as you shut off the throttle, you come to a nice, perfect stop.
Mm-hmm.
So once we're lined, I believe you guys said we're lined, right?
We are lined, yes.
Alright, once we get moving, our brakeman on the hind end there will go ahead and tie that rear tank car on 100%. And I will shove against that. So that way
Now,
What were you gonna say?
which load track do you want to go on?
We'll put 2 on one, 2 on the other.
Doke. Then we're gonna go to the left first.
Well, by shoving against this, we're gonna get, as soon as I shut off the throttle, we're gonna come and almost stop on a dime. My slack's not gonna run out on me, which, on a short train like this, maybe I'll get like 5 feet of slack run out. But on a longer train, if I was trying to drop these cars off and they were all the way back where the, just to the head of the caboose, well, you know, that's like half a car. And this will help keep everything a little more contained, and make spotting easier. And, you know, freight guys do this with their automatic. They'll take a set on the train, bail off their independent, which is releasing the brakes on the locomotive, and they'll put it in whatever notch they need to shove against that to get it rolling. And when they close their throttle, They grab a little bit of independent, and the train comes to a nice easy stop.
And when you set the brakes on the train, that is not a set and forget. We have talked on this show previously about set and forget, but this is not a case where you want to set and forget.
No, do not forget you have a set on the train, cause it'll screw you up pretty quickly.
Yep. I'm gonna say 6 cars.
6 cars?
Four cars?
See how I'm letting the train kind of eat up its own speed, bring itself down to a nice gentle crawl. We're coming in because once I get that 2-car count, I want to be moving about this speed.
2 cars.
2. Set throttle off a little bit more. Keep us just creeping. This is what they'd call a critical stop. You only got about 2 or 3 feet of wiggle room here.
1 car.
How nice of the yard crew to put all of our cars together up here in the storage yard.
Right?
I'll send them a gift basket.
Truck. That's good. So I think I may have spotted you wrong in that only one of the cars could be reached by...
Yeah, we gotta come ahead. I think this guy's gotta...
bend the other way.
Yeah. So how
That
far in...
makes sense.
If these both spin in, how does that spot?
I'm looking at maybe a truck ahead, and then we can make it work.
Okay. Let's try that. So we'll leave the brake set on that last car, and I'll give it a nice tug.
Now, are we loading these and taking them with us, or are we just
We're
leaving?
Spot and leave.
Okie doke.
Does that line up?
I need to come ahead about 3 more feet.
Yeah, we'll drop these, and then we need the coal hopper and the 2 lumber cars that are all together up there.
Yep.
Does this work?
Yep, pins out, handbrake is set. You're clear ahead.
Coming ahead. 601. So now you'll notice that every time I shut off the throttle with that one handbrake set, we came right to a stop. And that's exactly how you want that to work. That's the best. It's a great way for switching to work. Really lets you hit your mark when a car needs to get spotted in a critical position. And you don't have very much wiggle room. So we'll do that again over here. And oh, sorry if I'm quiet as I'm doing it. It's really trying to focus.
There.
Far enough. Here we come back. Alright, so that handbrake should be getting set up right now on that tank car.
Yep, handbrake is set.
Alright, and you could really feel it running. Not sure how well it shows on screen, but can really feel that really feel the extra weight, the extra resistance having to work against that.
Big, you can pull.
Okay.
Four cars.
4.
Two.
I'm gonna ease that throttle off. I'm looking out that window there to judge my speed. Since unlike in real life, I can't look backwards and also reach the controls at the same time. So I'm using that window, looking out there, judging my speed, seeing what I'm doing, and kind of focus half. Gonna shut almost all the way off now.
I'm gonna get switches behind, just
Drop.
big easy pull out. So
Understood.
And that's good.
Does that work for both?
Finding out.
Alright.
As we position the world's slowest moving pipe into place.
So you guys may have noticed as we were doing that, I pull the throttle out, release, close it, pull the throttle out, release, close it. And that's just sending a little bit of power, shutting it off, sending a little bit of power, shut it off. And you're giving it a pumping action, and I'm not sure how well it's modeled in game, steam chest wise, but in the real world you're letting steam into your cylinders, closing it. And you're getting like small micro bursts of power. So I need a little power. Yeah, shut it off. Won't let me reach the throttle.
I would say pull ahead 5 feet.
Coming ahead 5 feet.
That's probably good there. Nope, sorry. Keep it coming.
are we trying to do that hill with Eureka's again? Up to
You'll make it,
Ashokan? Okay.
I think.
Need another 3 feet.
I'm trying here.
2, 1, a little bit more.
Oh man, you're killing me.
Or should we stop
Right
up
there.
We can stop the Eureka's
On the
up
dot.
for a mogul or here.
Mathematically, let me do a quick math.
I thought we were like within like I don't know, just
You
barely
have
not making it or something.
2 coal hoppers.
You have a coal hopper, two lumber. Oh, sorry, you have an iron hopper and two lumber cars.
Alright. Iron ore,
All loaded.
1, 2 lumber cars.
Mm-hmm.
Three, and you have and your grade is
3, right?
yeah, you are 50% of your max tonnage.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright. I'm ready if you guys are. We'll
Yep.
do those beam cars. And,
Alright,
go ahead.
train 98 is ready to depart Hill Valley.
Train 98, Railroad Years, north of Hill Valley.
Thank you.
This is 5 mile an hour, right?
Close enough. The advantage of working without speedometers is to say, yeah, it was a slow feeling day, so my perception of speed was slightly altered.
And that's how you go for a piss test.
Well, yes, but that wasn't a thing in this era.
No, this
So
is true.
that's
They were
why
just
I'm.
drunk.
Well, that's also true. Yes. Hmm, 5 cars. Three. Two.
2,
1.
1. I'm doing the same thing. I'm just looking out that window, watching my speed.
Half
Half.
truck.
Truck.
Yep, right in there should be good.
Did not spill the booze in the parlor car.
Fantastic.
Or the cabbage rolls off of the tray in the caboose.
This is also true. And yeah, spent that whole time I was just glancing out the window, using my brake, judging my speed, watching how we were moving, and keeping everything nice and easy.
I feel like the most difficult translation in terms of real life to game, or rather, yeah, real life to game, is the fact that in real life you can have your hand on a control, say the train brake, while looking out the window and leaning out it. Whereas here in the game, you kind of have to look at the control that you're manipulating,
Yeah,
meaning you can't quite do both at the same time unless
correct.
you use the HUD, the heads up display, which then gives you all the controls while giving you a bird's eye view of the train.
Correct. It's. Are we clear to go ahead as we talk?
Yes.
Yep, pins out.
It's weird. 'Cause looking back, I could have my hand on that brake stand, taking little sets as I'm watching you, and as I can see how close I'm getting to the train, but I can't do that. So I end up looking out of the window. Though I guess I could like finagle myself, uh, something like this.
So you're standing in the boiler essentially.
Yeah. And it's awkward. Um, but it's a nature of the game. In reality, how I'm standing where I'm kind of half out of the windowsill. Running this, I'd probably have my ass on the windowsill.
Yep.
And be sitting up in the windowsill, holding on to just above me on the roof there, and running
5,
the engine like that. 5,
4,
4,
3,
3,
2,
2,
1,
1,
half
half,
truck.
truck.
You're good to make your reverse move. Something that doesn't come into play in this era of railroading, but certainly with a modern local and with the amount of switching that we're doing here, is air management. Specifically, the air management for the train brake, because you're doing so much starting and applying and starting and applying. So it seems that you'd have to at some point take pauses to allow your train line to charge up.
Depends on how long your train is and how terrible your compressor is. Also, there's a more liberal use of the independent when you're doing switching. Um, there have been times where I have like not even bothered to. I know I'm switching in a flat spot, and I never bothered to lace up the air on the cars. Cause why take the time to charge it when I'm only gonna dump it when we cut away?
Right.
So there's also that thinking involved. Kind of a why bother mentality.
Now, with these cars, are we gonna unload them or are we just spotting them as well?
Now we'll unload on the fly, and what we'll do is we'll leave these guys in mile long yard, grab the empty flats with the caboose, run on over, load those with pipe, and we'll come back and grab everything, and hopefully that means the industry has gone ahead and loaded up those tank cars for us while we were gone, so that way we can just grab them on our way back.
Gotcha.
There's a boxcar sitting here at Mesh. Should that be on our list or no?
No.
Okay.
2 cars.
So I really want to get this down to a crawl under 5 miles an hour. I'm right at 5 right now. Slow it down a little bit more.
Yeah, that should be a good pace to handle things at. We are beaming with pride here.
Yeah, that's a perfect pace right there. And you'll notice I'm doing a mix of looking out and looking down to judge my speed. The slower you go, looking down is easier. The faster you're going, you want to look out at the tree line, because you get a more accurate judge of speed that way. And yeah, we're moving a little under 5. That's the right speed for this. You wouldn't do this in real life, because the beams don't magically lift up and fly off the car.
Neat as that would be.
That would be pretty neat.
Maybe the freight department of the Hogwarts Express handles their loading and unloading procedures like that.
And once they add real passenger train mechanic, you're just gonna see a crane swing into a passenger station, pick a person up, and drop them halfway into the car.
That will be entertaining to see how that is
Right?
implemented.
I'm excited to see how they do that.
Yes.
Oh, gonna need to run some pipe here soon.
Yep. They called for their pipe, and they called for the oil, and they called for their Hostlers 3.
Alright. So we'll come drop these cars off, and we'll fly them out into Mile Long Yard, and then we'll come and grab those empty flats and run on over to the ironworks. We're to get to see a thing called the flying switch, which I think we've done on stream once or twice before, right? It's good
Possibly
to
even intentionally.
Possibly.
Which oh god, just fell out of the engine. Wouldn't let me get, yeah, into the cab. Crap.
I'm not seeing any fluid moving out of the pouch for the...
3 cars to go. 2 cars to go.
No, we're gonna fly these into Mile Long Yard.
Oh, okay.
You wanna hop back on?
I'm on board.
Gonna pull the pin. And get out ahead of you. Nick, there is the secret spout at the bottom of the stairs.
Secret spout at the bottom of the stairs.
A secret on-off valve.
Oh, got it. Sweet. Oh, I see. That's cool. You can tell how many times I've loaded oil cars at the oil fields here. That's a big 0. Becoming a 1.
We're unfortunately not over here all that much lately. There's been so much maintenance on the other end of the railroad that the Southern Division doesn't get much love. But here we are. And this is a flying switch. You basically put the throttle all the way out and run hard. Pull the pin, let the car and get past your switch as quick as possible. Throw the switch and let your train pass you. Not a legal thing to do anymore, but in this time period it was still allowed. It was only outlawed in like the 80s or something like that.
And even when it was outlawed, that didn't necessarily mean that folks didn't try to still keep doing it.
This is true. You can stop those anywhere in there, Hostler. We'll scoop them up on our way back.
Copy that. Just making sure they're in the clear.
That's a flying switch. It's admittedly a lot of fun to do, especially when you get it right. When you get it wrong, it's just hilarious because everything's all over the place. But when you get it right, it's a fun time. Yeah. I enjoy a good flying switch. Be my own brakeman for a bit and run up here and get the switch. And in the days of real railroading, this would be or days of steam, this would be a 5-man crew. So you'd have an engineer, a fireman, a head-end brakeman, a hind-end brakeman, and a conductor. And the 2 brakemen and the conductor would work in tandem. So that way everyone would be not controlling the move at the same time, but working at the same time. It's like the conductor may be spotting the car, and hind-end brake, you'll cut them away. Conductor will ride up with the engine, and hind-end brake, you'll point and throw the move to the head-end brake, who's standing up by the switch. And you're doing all this pointing back and forth while you're doing hand signals to tell the engineer who's now in charge of the move. Kind of very cool to see happen. Gotten to do that a couple of times as a brakeman.
Something to look forward to when we have hand signals in game.
And VR when?
In the meantime, I will ask the audience to imagine all of us doing beautiful hand signals from the comfort of our respective offices and doing them in perfect coordination and telepathically communicating these hand signals to one another.
Are we ready to get out of here?
Yep, pins in and all handbrakes are knocked off.
Alright, Nick, you coming with us or you're just gonna run over to the ironworks?
I'm good to come with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna get the stove going here. once again, appreciate all of you who are joining us here on Railroads Play Railroaders Online, or the other way around, as you may prefer, here on the Virtual Railroader Academy. And recognize that you have several entertainment options on Twitch, and thank you for choosing us as your source of entertainment, whether you are watching this live or on repeat. Though we encourage you to tune in live Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern to be able to join in the conversation, ask us questions, come up with naming suggestions for places that crop up, because our chief architect is a very busy and creative fellow who likes popping architectural wonders in the middle of nowhere that then need names.
We do have an unnamed... Is it an unnamed flag stop? I think we named it. But if you are curious where we are on the railroad and names of things, go ahead and type !map into chat. That'll give you a JPEG version of the map of the railroad and names and everything, and a little purple line that shows you what the main line is for for the whole railroad.
And if this video reaches 100 million streams, we will build a life-size HO scale rendition of this.
In 1:1 scale. In HO.
Oh, 1:1.
1:1 in HO. So go ahead
okay.
and do that.
Yes.
Or we can do it in trains with a Z
Yeah, there's that too.
as a part of what makes this layout great. And I don't think this would make that layout, and I don't think this layout would make that layout great.
No, I think this is a pretty great layout. And honestly, if you could do it in 1:1 in HO, boy, you've got a nice aircraft carrier. Well, you could do that on an aircraft carrier deck. Aircraft hangar was what I was thinking. Or a gigantic garden railroad.
Yeah, this would make a nice garden railroad, I think.
Yeah,
I think that would translate very well.
Yep. Truth be told, I think that I've seen some really impressive garden railroad designs. A lot of them are sort of just sort of loop-de-doop-dees and going through the scenery. Nothing against that, but that's a lot of them. But there's some really nice operations-minded garden railroads. There was one in Great Model Railroads 2021 in Model Railroaders yearly issue about that features different layouts. This guy did a Western Maryland layout in G scale.
Ooh.
that is operations based, so you could run loop-de-doop, but he has towns with coal mines and industries, so it can be legit operated. That one might end up getting on what makes this layout great.
I think we're gonna have one switch against us up there.
Alrighty. Running. As in lining towards the runner, as opposed to the main? Or wanted to go out on the main?
We want to go out onto the main.
Okay.
We are Ironworks bound is train 601 still. Third
Right.
class peddler freight here on the AM&W. Yeah. Gonna actually have a V2 of this railroad coming out probably by May, actually. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be I think it's gonna throw people for a loop. Just how everything's laid out. Not extremely different from this, but different enough. And
Which
I
means
suppose
that-
I probably should have put out a train order that says the death switch can stay reversed. Since we are the only thing through here right now. So yeah,
So that means I'm going to be running to locations expecting to see track and then realize that there's nothing there anymore.
you're going to be
for
running
about
to
3
locations
weeks.
expecting to see a location and there's going to be nothing there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um, things are not where you're going to expect them to be, and there's multiple.
Oh, that's right.
There's
Yes, you've talked about that.
I've been playing with it a little bit. It's exciting. I think it feels. I think it's going to be better for this because it has much more of a point-to-point railroad feel. Um, more so than this. And it really captures that. I think it's really going to capture that short line railroad. There's an interchange with a logging railroad. There's, I have the joke little towns of Ahsoka and Mohawk here, and little wayside stations along the way. But in this new version, they're laid out a lot better. There's industries at the stations, the two big ones of Ahsoka and Mohawk. So there's a reason to go there. You're passing through them with large trains. Ahsokan's actually a stop on the way to the coal mine, so we're gonna have long coal trains flying uphill through Ahsokan.
Nice.
It's gonna be nice. Knock wood, once the spline update comes out, we'll be able to start introducing people to that railroad on our streams, and I think it's gonna be more conducive to teaching.
I like the idea that it'll be a little bit more linear as well, because there's something to be said for having a few branches, but the way industries are laid out in the default Railroads Online map basically requires you to have branches to every single industry. Less so maybe with these southwestern ones, but there is still an element to you go to here and then there's this random line going here, so I welcome, and just the fact that, as you say, industries would ordinarily be built around a town or vice versa, rather than just, hey, there's a deep valley, we're gonna put a smelter there. Why? I don't know. Because it's pretty and it makes for a challenge, which it does both of those things, but it admittedly is not the most realistic place for a smelter. Unless you maybe said that back in the old days they would float boats down the river to it, but even there, that's a bit of a stretch.
Now, little spoiler for that, I actually swapped the sawmill for where the smelter is, which it feels a little more authentic. You're bringing logs down out of the mountain. There's a nice isolated plateau, so you're bringing logs down off of this mountain. Plus, you're logging the hillside, and you're coming down from the lumber camp into the sawmill at the bottom of the valley, and then that's getting brought back up to interchange. So it provides this nice, almost Cass scenic railroad style of operation. In a way, I think it's going to provide a nice new element to the railroad, and kind of bring out some of that railroaderness that's missing from this. We're going to be able to do more local freights like this. There's actually two industries on the way between the new Hill Valley Yard and Plateau, that will actually be able to have a little freight doping along and just dropping off cars at these industries, and little industry switchers drilling out stuff. And, theoretically, with this new update, we'll be able to expand our operations, have more people playing, so you'll actually, without sacrificing frame rates or jumping beam cars, so we'll be able to have more people playing, and a more railroady railroad, which I'm looking forward to, and I think it'll give us a lot more interesting things to talk about.
A lot more interesting things with some...
Or a lot more interesting things to demonstrate. Plus, may be able to spend a whole stream just watching me write train orders. We have a switch up here to get.
Maybe we'll figure out how to do multi-screen shares as well, so then folks can see different perspectives of the action going
that
on.
that may be a very cool thing to do. I don't think we can do it on Twitch, or I don't think my account can multi-stream. But being able to maybe hop over to Nick's channel to check out his perspective, and being able to bounce around like that would be interesting and cool, quite frankly.
Yeah, we could do that much. Very
These are all the types of things we want to be able to bring to you guys out there to really showcase the essence of railroading. And we'll probably revisit some of the topics that we've already talked about in our last 4 episodes. It's been 4 already.
Yeah. And
These preview rehearsals, whatever we're really calling them.
And we welcome your feedback and input on what you would like to see us discuss.
Yes.
Good topics of conversation, random questions based on things we've covered, because as you alluded to, we'll probably end up recovering some of this material, because I think it'll be beneficial once there's more stability, once if we can find a good way to do multi-screen streaming, so you're able to see different perspectives simultaneously, things of that nature.
Let us know in chat if we've gone over your head or something, or you want to see us cover something. Also, check out the link tree in the in our page description. We have an email address set up now, so you can send us an email with what you want to see and whatnot. And there's a link to a Facebook page that's gonna be going up shortly, hopefully in the next week or so.
Yes. You guys who are watching us now, you're what we call the cool kids. You're the in of the in, because we've in some ways been deliberately holding back from really pushing and marketing this series, because we are trying to get our rhythm down as far as subjects to cover and so forth, getting our bearings as hosts. So you'll be able to say you knew us when, essentially.
We'll have to give out a subscriber or a Patreon discount or cool swag if you got in here before we hit it off.
Yeah, you'll get first dibs at because we're going to do the diploma thing, so maybe something like that.
I thought you were gonna say fan night, but yes, the diploma thing as well.
Oh, fan night too. There's all sorts of reasons for you guys to be sticking around.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing some fun things here, in the near future and also in the long-term future.
History in the making.
Yes, and we're playing history as well.
Playing history, making history, rewriting history.
It's all history.
Yep. Well, it isn't history because it's present and the future.
When is this happening? Now, sir. How do we go back to then?
These and other mysteries of the universe. And welcome to Iro's Ironworks.
Shortly up the railroad, we have the Jasmine Dragon Tea Shop. Be sure to get your fill. This is apparently a British railroad where we have tea.
Well, we've been serving tea for, or no, coffee. We've had coffee, but yes, we'll be introducing the tea service on the
Catskill Flyer.
That's the name of it. I can't believe I don't know the name of our own crack express train.
It depends on which direction. Catskill Flyer northbound, Mohawk Limited southbound.
Well, the Catskill Flyer is right now Catskill Crawler.
Have you hit the 2.75?
Yeah, we're about halfway up it.
Yep.
Yeah,
1.5.
1.5.
1.
1.
Huh? coming.
Coming.
Truck.
Truck.
And that's good in there, 40.
I just realized it was engine 40.
Yes, I was going to say, this was a great number of locomotive to use because I feel like 40 is quite possibly the most popular number
Uh,
in rail preservation of steam locomotives.
there are at least 3 off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's more.
Well, let's go down the list. So you've got New Hope and Ivyland 40,
Valley 40.
Valley 40, Nevada Northern 40,
Uh-huh.
and oh, we got to come up with one more. I'm sure there's another one.
Oi. We have enough steel pipe to load all this?
Yep.
The 700 series trains I think are going to become hot trains here pretty soon. Oi, there's no iron and there's no lumber.
But plenty of coal.
Oh, there's 1,000 coal.
Oh well, yeah. Then that's plenty of coal.
Sorry, 979. My bad.
Oh well, we need to get another coal train out here ASAP to fill up the
I have 3
21.
cars. I have 3 cars sitting in Hill Valley to come over.
See, that'll restore balance to the force. Oh, golly, I really want to find one more 40 that's out there.
Someone hop on Steam Loco. If in
Steam
chat, hop
locomotive.
on steamlocomotive.net. Let us know if there's any other engines numbered 40 out there. And if you're watching this after the fact, send us an email if we forgot a 40. We got Valley Railroad / Essex Steam Train and Riverboat. We've got New Hope and Ivyland, and we've got Nevada Northern. Let us know what we're missing. We're sure there's a number. Georgetown Loop 40.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so we have 4 40s. Let us know if we're missing another 40. And you know, we're sure there's more. It's got to be the most popular number.
What about the one at the Colorado Railroad Museum?
There's a 40 at the Colorado Railroad Museum?
Yes. Or is that the one that's at Georgetown Loop
I
normally?
think that's the one at Georgetown Loop now. With the, like the humpback tender
One.
on.
Yeah, I think it's maybe, I don't know. Colorado Central 40 is the locomotive I'm thinking of.
Oh, you're right.
So that's 5.
Oh.
No.
Oh, no.
5 540s, not 5 feet. Sorry. Proclaim.
I heard that's fine.
Oh, okay. You're
Oh,
good.
yeah?
Now
Uh-huh.
that's fine.
Far enough. Someone want to get a handbrake? I'll cut away and do my runaround.
You've got a handbrake.
All right, I'll be back shortly. I'm gonna get around this thing. So yeah, there's at least 5 number 40s in preservation.
So if you're gonna start up a tourist railroad, make sure you have a number 40.
And it'll probably be a saturated engine, cause they all are. Although, oh no, that's slide valve out at Nevada Northern, isn't it? Yeah, they're all saturated engines. Which, if you remember from our Steam Locomotive 101, that means that it's not superheated. And superheating is when you heat the steam up a second time in a separate set of tubes, and it increases the temperature of the steam, but not the pressure, drying it out and giving you more, essentially more power. Cause it takes longer to condense back into saturated steam. When you said that's far enough 40, I immediately got flashbacks to being at work, and I'm just like, yeah, 40 far enough. I'm like, hang on, that sounds familiar.
I can
you know,
understand.
now
I,
you
it was
guys know
just
that there's 540s out there. It's a little bit easier to figure out what railroad I work for. You have 5 options to get it right,
at least,
at
but
least.
maybe she hasn't said specifically one of the other 40s that we haven't named that probably exists on SteamLocomotive.com.
Yeah, so
That
in
could
chat,
be
let
throwing
us
a wrench
know
in it.
what engine 40 we're missing, or more engine 40. I don't know. How many 40s are there out there? There's a ton.
It could be the Collis P. Huntington 40, one of those amusement park Collis P. Huntingtons.
Oh
There's
my gosh.
probably a 40.
Does Disney World have a 40?
I don't think so. No, all of theirs are single
Yeah.
digits. I think both at World and Land. Um, but while you are coming to your hitch, I am hopping over to SteamLocomotive.com to see how many 40s we can find in this great big world of ours.
Oh, I'm out.
Find 40 in United States. Search survivors. Oh, that actually worked. Kinda.
Ooh.
There is okay, it's not operable, but there's a 40, which is an 040 at the Heart of Dixie Railroad Museum. It is a Davenport display switcher.
Ooh.
Alabama Power. It's a fireless.
Ooh, a fireless 40.
We've got a fireless 40.
It's still technically saturated, might I add.
Yeah. And then the it's the at the Salida, Colorado. There's a 040 Tiger, Coppers Company. It's a porter, also numbered 40. And Rudy gets tonight's first cookie for the 40 at Georgetown Loop. But I don't
No,
see
I
a
got
40
the
listed.
Georgetown Loop one.
Okay, well then you get the cookie, but I don't see a 40 for anything at Colorado Railroad Museum.
I'm already in a cookie.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 6.
We're
Yeah,
gonna gloss over my pun there.
Unless the one at Colorado Railroad Museum is the same one as the Georgetown Loop, which is quite possible.
280.
Yeah, it's showing it's a B4G 280.
Are you gonna want this caboose at the other end?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll take the train out to the switch. We'll drop the caboose over one, and then shove back on top of the caboose. Cause I accidentally made the world's longest runaround, so I thought I was gonna be running longer trains.
What about Canada?
Yes, Colorado Central 40 is the one at Georgetown Loop, so it is the same locomotive.
There we go. But still, 6 of the same number is not nothing. I mean, it's
No,
not
it's
like you
not.
have a bunch of 2317s.
God, can you imagine all the number 90s out there?
Hmm.
Well, see if 90 is a popular number.
Yeah, I think 97 may also. No, 97's not a popular number.
No, 90.
No, I'm thinking 97. Because, wrecking the old 97. I figured that'd be a popular one, but I don't think so.
90, there's 2. There's Strasburg's, and then there's a 282 at the
Oh,
Oregon.
The Pulson,
The Oregon
that's
Yep.
not the Pulson engine. It's,
Yeah, it's Polson. Rainier.
oh, it's
Pulson
yeah,
model.
right here. Yeah.
Now we're searching 97. Man, this is now man. We've come up with a party game for you guys watching at home for between live streams. you can play. Guess how many of X number exist in preservation?
This is a new
Uh,
drinking game.
and 97. I've searched it, but I'm gonna guess there's 4.
I think 2.
All right. Any other guesses before we do the tally?
Come on, chat. Give us your guesses. How many engines that are numbered 97 are there in America? 30 seconds on the clock.
Remember, we're going off of SteamLocomotive.com, so this does not include the Collis P. Huntington Zoo trains. Does not include your grandfather's live steam railroad in his backyard.
Pins out. You're clear.
Does
Alright,
not
that's it.
include
30
fictional
seconds is up.
railroads.
What do we got?
Okay, we have one, which is Georgia Power number 97 at the Southeastern Railway Museum. It is a porter. Don't underestimate those switch engines. Those 040s, you can find a lot of them. We have a B and SE at the Valley Railroad. At 280. We have Smoky Joe, a 440 at the Eastern Shore Threshermen and Collectors Association in Federalsburg, Maryland. It's a
Ooh.
Crown product.
Oh, is
that's
it like
kind
a
of
3-foot gauge thing?
the 16-inch.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Okay, so we'll take it out, even though SteamLocomotive.com does count it. So we will negate that
It does not qualify as an FRA engine.
one. Fair enough.
It's under 24 inches.
True. We do have Mobile and Golf 260, number 97, at the Indiana Railway Museum.
It doesn't exist.
What?
The Indiana Railway Museum.
No, not the Indiana Trans.
Oh,
wait,
oh,
maybe. No, it's a different one. Yes, it is
Okay.
a different one. It's the Indiana Railway Museum, not the Indiana Transportation Museum, which, yes, no longer exists. So that puts us at a total of 3. And do we have 4? Because that was my bet, was 4. No. So,
So that's a nice
you're
even
look-
split there between the 2 of us.
yep. Yep, so 3. Although I'd still love to believe that Crown Metal Products is...
How many
Counts.
engines numbered 611 are there?
Oh,
I'll
that's
see myself out.
that's gonna be 1. That's gonna be 1. I mean, there is not a way there's going to be a second one.
I will see myself out now.
Wait, there
I
is...
believe there's. Yes.
Oh, the U.S. Army the S-160s.
Yes, it is. Yes, that is correct. 280 U.S. Army Transportation Corps, located at Bill Miller Equipment Sales, Eckhart Mines, Maryland. A cosmetic restoration. I didn't realize they sold theirs. Oh, I'm thinking of 610. They still have the 610. But I guess they had a 6... I didn't realize they had a 611.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
I can't remember if that was the S160 that is equipped with poppet valves or not.
Oh, I don't
It
know.
is. You are correct. According to SteamLocomotive.com.
Squeaky with the
Oh.
fun facts.
Yes.
That we have delved quite a bit off the topic of the local, but tonight's a little bit more of a loosey-goosey stream because the local's very broad.
Yes. We've gone local to Bill Miller Equipment Sales, which is actually near Frostburg, Maryland.
I think
Yeah,
I knew that.
he's just down the road from a place that's running an engine named numbered 734 and 1309. Are there going to be more than one 734? There is not, but let's play that game. Nope, there is only one 734.
We could give those a kick and then just stop short of the switch.
Okay.
make sure we're normaling up the switch for the ironworks as we go through, guys.
Got it. Does normal mean lining for
Oh,
the
no.
unloads?
No, the
You can stop
one up
switching.
by the junction for the main line. Sorry,
Oh, that one. Okay, gotcha.
I'll back off so you can get on.
Because you can pull forward about just clear the switch you're sitting on.
It sounds like train 98 is done for the night.
Yeah, we're drilling out a Shogun here.
How was the 2.75%?
Slow. Very slow.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll be able to hit that with some speed.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. You can't get a running start. Speedy, you can back up onto number 4 there.
Okay.
That and one of the devs have announced that there's 9 different engines in the works right now, and there's a nice 460 passenger engine on the tree, on the current active list. So that'll be nice to get that in, to start running the passenger train in tandem with one of the Eureka's.
Yeah. Should I join your company before unloading these 3 cars?
Yeah, get your own XP, so that way when we move over to the V2 of the railroad, I'll have everyone log in before it's finished and give you guys your XP and money back.
Okay.
This switch that we're going over now, Nick, is the one we need to normal up.
Alrighty.
And that 'tis the life of the local freight is you have to stop and get all these switches behind you because you're using them. And
If
they'd
you're
also just keep
going-
rolling through them, and brakemen would have to hop on the fly.
If you're going to an op session at a model railroad and you want to have a lot of interesting stuff to do, say you want to work the local. If you want to have a nice easy point A to point B run, don't choose the local.
Choose your through freight or your passenger train, even your local passenger. It'll still be a nice point A to point B with some stopping along the way. That's kind of like your nice happy medium.
And I don't say that with any sort of derision. There's some folks that I know. I love to get into switching. I love the brain exercises, but some folks go to op sessions and it's intimidating enough because it's like, oh, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to hold guys up and whatnot. And I completely understand that. And knock yourself out at a point A to point B run by all means.
I like the
Man,
switching. I really like working the yard. Dream World, doing op sessions outside of stream. If I could just work the yard the whole time and make up trains, hustle engines, that's where I thrive. That's what I love doing. Because I get to run these things for real. So yeah, it's fun to talk about it and run the trains on stream, but outside of stream, I like working the yard, doing that kind of stuff, because it's not things I get to do when I'm at my job.
You're gonna love one of my upcoming What Makes This Layout Great live streams.
Is it
It's
the one coming out this week?
well, I mean, you might enjoy that one too. No, but the one I'm specifically thinking
Everyone's
of.
gonna enjoy that one.
Well, yes, I think so. Especially you, especially because it's your layout. But the one I was thinking of in particular, and that one does have a lot of switching involved, so that's true. But actually, I was thinking of there's an N-scale track plan called Ozark Lines, aka how my last name typically gets butchered into, but I did not name it. It's a model railroader track plan. I don't think it's ever been done in one-to-one, but was more of a concept. It is a division point, and that's it. It is an N-scale, 12-foot long division point, complete with roundhouse facilities and about 8-yard tracks. A couple of local industries, but that's it. There's no sense of traveling from point A to point B. It's all about train comes into scene, does something, train leaves scene. or your hostile and power.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I will really like that one.
I'm eager to do it because so often in model railroading, especially North American model railroading, layouts tend to focus on, unless it's a smaller switching layout, they tend to focus on getting from point A to point B. Even a 4x8, usually you'll have two different sides with two different scenes. The British philosophy is more of you have one location and you have a bunch of trains go through that one location. Usually some type of passenger station. So this is an American plan that feels like a British plan in that it's distinctly one location and it's about having a bunch of trains go through and how you yard them and how you make up and break up freights, how you hustle power. It will be a fun exploration. I'm thinking that's going to be, maybe, that might be not tomorrow's, as in March 31st. That might be April 7th. We shall see.
Just a few notes of our moves here. We're going to cut off the caboose on the fly and fly it into the empty cut of cars on yard track 1, closest to the long passing track. And then we're going to take these pipe cars in to deliver at the oil field.
So we'll pipe down for that.
So get ready to cut the caboose away, and someone want to go stand up at the switch and throw it?
I've got
You're gonna want to cut that caboose away now.
the switch.
Okay,
Alright.
the caboose is cut away.
Alright, not that switch, Nick, up here. Engine's going over it right now.
Okay. Although I will line and lock that one for normal after we've got the caboose taken care of.
And there may be 1 or 2 switches inside the yard you need to get to. And I'll back off so that way grab a brakeman before I go deliver these.
I'll be back to you in a moment. The switch for the main's lined and locked normal.
Oh cool, you got the switch for the main too while you were down there?
Yep.
Sweet.
For those of you streaming along with us, encourage you to join the conversation. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, your social security numbers if you like. No, don't do that. But, you know, happy to have you join in the chat. And if you have any questions about how locals run as general principle, or switching practices, maybe you're model railroading, you want to know how to run your own railroad more realistically, we're more than happy to assist in whatever ways we can.
Also gonna throw out there of alongside all of that, what got y'all interested in trains while we're here? Everyone always has a good story for that.
True.
Mine was got to go see 614 running through Suffern, New York on the New York-New Jersey border on the Erie Limited trips way back when, and watching Ross Rowland run exuberantly through town was always a thrill. Got to hang out on this there was this gorgeous New York and Greenwood Lake ex-Erie bay window, and a RS3 painted in Erie colors hanging out on the old main line that we would hang out on waiting for the train to come through. That was always a lot of fun.
Have you seen the 614 up close at the museum in Clifton Forge?
I haven't. The last time I saw 614 was on the turntable in PJ. Got to. My dad knew someone who was involved with the High Iron Company, and they brought us out on the turntable while they were turning the engine, and we got to ride the turntable,
Uh,
which it was cool. That was pretty cool.
that is even cooler, yes.
But yeah, in chat, how did you guys get into trains? What's your cool story?
Mine is I had to have a dad who uh, indoctrinated me into the churches of Canadian Pacific and Canadian National as he grew up in Ottawa in the late 50s. So had a Hornby, no, it wasn't Hornby, a Triane before Triane got bought out by Hornby. Double O scale layout because model manufacturers had no clue there was this magical country called Canada for the longest time. And I mean until basically the late 90s when you started to see a bit more available. But otherwise, it was kind of specialty run stuff and not just you're ready to run fare. So that my hometown of Meadville, Pennsylvania, having Alcos, also particularly nice.
Oh, nice. Love
And
a
train
Alco.
simulators. I will always sing the praises of train simulators because I think that's what helped it transition from something I did with my dad to something that I did because I wanted it.
Alright, it's quickie we can tie it down.
Alrighty.
Alright, 98 is unassembled, reassembled, turned, and we're tying it down and choking.
All right. There's a whole bunch of schmelter work. If y'all are
Yeah,
interested in that, or,
I actually probably need to bail off, but
fair enough.
I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm gonna go take care of that problem.
Oof.
Going to
So.
Beans.
Yeah. But, yeah. So,
Well, great having you tonight.
I don't know if you want to do a quick save while we're here or whatever.
Yeah, we are stopped right now, so we can do a quick save.
Okay.
Is everyone in a good position?
Yep.
Bonk. All saved up.
Just save my best side.
Alright. And maybe back on Discord in a little bit. We'll see how long it takes me to cook dinner. So,
Alright.
but, alright.
I'm giggling at Ninja saying I don't even like trains. I'm just here to pick up chicks. Worked out okay for me.
I mean, he has a good point there. In the rare circumstances.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright,
Alright.
have a good
I'll
night.
see you either later this week or later tonight. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
So, alright. See you guys.
Later.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm sorry I wasted a couple of pipes, by the way.
Yeah, it's fine.
I realized that I should have stopped. Although, actually, now we're out of beams. Well, almost out of beams. Oh, wait. What?
Yeah, we are out of beams.
That was quick.
It's not 1-to-1. Alright, what's the best way to do this? So we gotta bring these guys back with us, and we gotta bring back tank. We'll run around this, come over, grab the tank cars, with the, flats, and then we'll fly everything into, the train out on, 1. And I take it, refinery, employees had a chance to load the car while we were gone.
That would be correct. All 4 tanks are loaded and set to go.
Alright.
Which means as heavy as they were before, wait till you get a feel for them now.
Oh, they're gonna be so much heavier.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I'm gonna cut myself away and run around then.
And I'm probably gonna call it a night too.
Yeah, have a good night, Hostler. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Take care, Hostler. Well, I like this oil refinery. Or no, this is the oil fields.
Oil field, not the refinery's terrible. I messed that up bad.
Well, I don't mean. I mean, there's the track layout, but just the functionality of loading the cars and stuff. This is a fun one.
Little spoiler alert for the new world, the V2 map. There's actually 2 oil fields on it.
Ooh, yay!
So there's going to be tank cars and box cars moving all over.
Sounds good to me.
More
tank cars is good.
Yes.
We like tank cars.
Yes. Hopefully we'll be able to run some serious trains with tank cars too with the new update. That's gonna, I don't want to call it the saving grace of the game, but it's gonna completely change gameplay for the better. And this is the way of the local freight here, is all these little starts and stops and run around the train 1,000 times and rearrange your train 1,000 times. That's how this goes, that's how this works. It's the way of life.
Running around. Lots of runarounds.
Oh, so much. Running around a lot.
Especially if you're doing model railroading in a small space and you want to get the most out of it. Having good switching opportunities. Doing maybe a town with a few industries or so forth. That really, especially if you can't do a layout where you're actually traveling, then giving yourself a lot to do in the space you have is good. You're short by a truck, unfortunately.
No, we gotta grab those flats first.
Oh, flats first?
Yeah,
Okay, well
so that way
then
we
you
get
are...
the heavy cars up on top.
Then you are long. And... You are long and good. As opposed to short.
Okay, so
You wanna pop back to Hill Valley and line us for a rival track, Squiggy, and then just start running up the main line. We'll pick you up as we go by.
Sure.
Head out on the next. Maybe we'll do some switching inside. We'll switch over to a Heisler once we get back and ready the train up for its next thing. Start putting together a new train for the next operating session. But the local is precious. It's
5 cars.
5 cars. I feel like this is
4.
4.
3.
3.
2.
2.
1.
1.
Okay, and pins in.
Hands in.
Brakes are knocked off.
Knocked off. Here we go. I feel
So
like the local's a good. What were you gonna say, Squiggy?
any yard track, rival yard track?
Any old arrival track. There's nothing in particular.
All right.
But yeah, I feel like the local's a good topic to talk about because it's so broad and it allows us to talk about different. It allows us to talk about model railroading, about the game. It allows us to encompass more than just pure railroading. Which is where we kind of get lost sometimes. But we can tie it back to things everyone that you can do in your bedroom on a switching layout.
The local is kind of a way of life as well, because these days most short lines, they may have scheduled trains, but even their scheduled trains are technically locals. Two cars.
2,
One,
1,
half,
half.
anywhere in there's good.
Far enough.
So there's kind of a way of life element to it where, I mean, obviously class ones are a different story.
I mean, but class 1s are shopping off their locals to short lines.
Exactly. Except for rare cases. I mean, you still have some strong local ops, especially BNSF, which hasn't fully subscribed to his precision scheduled railroading.
Mm.
But yeah, honestly, I feel like if you're looking for kind of railroading in a classic sense, in a commercial sense, as opposed to kind of the technology of steam and so forth, go to the short lines, because the short lines are sort of the last bastion of where you see quote unquote classic railroading.
Yeah. Which is, I think that's what this game does well, and why it's great using this as a tool is, we've worked 2 industries tonight, but we've been 5 cars. We've been working for 2 hours on 2 industries.
Or
4. And just going back and forth between them, switching stuff out,
3.
delivering. 3.
2.
2.
1.
1.
Half.
Half.
Truck.
Truck.
Okay, first tanker's in.
Got 1.
You've got truck for the second.
That was 3, you just couldn't tell because the middle one was so quick.
Of course. And we've got the second one. Brakes are knocked off. Good to pull ahead.
Coming ahead, 602. Because since we got to our southernmost point and turned around, we changed from train 601 to train 602. And it's an automatic thing once you reach the end of your trip. And as soon as you reach the end of your trip, you are no longer that train. And as soon as you are ready to depart, you become the next train in sequence.
Because this is a scheduled local. This is not an extra local.
It's a class 3. It's a 3rd class local. So it's on the schedule to run. And it just gives it priority over extras. And nothing says it has to run every day. It can get annulled if there's no traffic.
Right.
Or better yet, railroads will let traffic build up on purpose in a yard, and run the local 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that way they let traffic kind of accumulate, so that way it's more cost effective to run it. You're putting more cars on the train, you're delivering them less often. So you're using your equipment less. So you can still run a scheduled local that way.
Yep. 5 cars.
5 cars.
4.
4.
3.
3.
2.
2.
1. Half. Truck. Okay. We've got our first one and truck to the second. Keep it coming. About 10 feet. And good hook, pins in, brakes are knocked off, good to pull ahead.
Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to fly these into the rest of the train on track 1. and then grab it with our engine again.
Sounds like a pretty fly idea.
Hey, with the puns, I love it.
I'm feeling in good spirits on that front. The creative juices there are flowing.
Oh, again, and this is the local freight. You get your work done in a timely manner. So the locals back in this time period, they were fly switching a lot. Get moving at a good clip, cut away, throw the switch, let your train put itself back together, and you don't need to run around then because the engine's train goes past you, and you go from one end of the train to the other pretty nicely. All right, you wanna pull that pin there?
Yep, it's pulled.
All right.
I'm pretty sure you're going to be doing more than 5 miles an hour into yard. So that's it.
This feels like 5 to me. Here, I'll ring my
Okay.
bell so people know I'm coming.
That eases all of my concerns.
Oh shit. Shit. And we bungled this.
Yes, we did. So I'm setting brakes.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't have switches lined properly for that.
And I couldn't get ahead of it quick enough.
Okay, prepare for a bump.
Ow.
Bump.
Ooh.
Yeah, I told you. Okay, pins are back in, brakes
Alright.
are knocked off.
So let's we'll shove back to the switch for the tank cars and try this again.
Yep. And remember, as always, ladies and gentlemen, all quote-unquote mistakes that you see demonstrated here tonight and any night that you are tuning in to Railroaders Play Railroads Online are 100% rehearsed in advance because we want you to understand the basic mistakes that can be made, such as why fly switching is now illegal.
This is a very good example of why fly switching is illegal.
So this is that is the usual disclaimer we put in front of all of our understandably perceived to be mistakes, non-mistakes.
We're gonna clip that, and that's gonna go in the trailer for this episode.
The disclaimer, the disclaimer section.
All of it. And see, folks, this is why you don't fly switch. Because we
Yep.
practice these things, that way you can learn from our mistakes.
We're what you call experts.
Experts.
Yes.
Air quotes. Alright, I'm gonna set my brake and let this thing slow to pick its own mark.
If it helps, I'll wait by the switch.
Yeah, I think that'll help.
Yeah, that would definitely.
So, which switch and who's going where?
Engines going up the long siding, trains going up into the yard, into the track that we just went down by mistake.
Okay.
Alright.
The track we went down to as a demonstration
Of
a
the
mistake.
wrongness of flying switches.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, yeah. This is why we don't do these things anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
Precisely.
that is important to know.
I was reading it was a classic Trains Mag, or maybe it was Trains Mag article, where somebody was talking about, this was like 70s or
You want to
early
get
80s.
that pin now?
Mm-hmm. And they did a flying switch and a car derailed, and so it blocked them in. Pins out.
Pins out.
I am just rolling down the line, helplessly awaiting my fate at the hands of Squiggy, who has so thoughtfully and carefully lined me into the proper track, thus giving me a greater sense of confidence of my
Yep.
fortunes.
I don't think you're gonna have a Lincoln pin in those cars up there.
I have a pin. Nope. I do have a link and a pin.
Ooh.
And I'm trying to put enough brakes on that we're not going to totally... too late. Uh-oh. That's not ideal.
Oh.
Not the end of the world. Are we gonna make the hitch? Are we gonna make the hitch? Nope. But we'll get it backed in. There's like a truck gap.
Sad.
But the brakes are knocked off the tankers and pipe flats. So once we get those pushed back into the rest of the flats, we will be good.
And we were talking about the local as the way of life, and I vaguely recall that's the name of a book.
The local is the way of life.
Or
Not Mixed Train Daily.
maybe it's Mixed Trains Daily is what I'm thinking of.
Mixed Train Daily is a phenomenally
It is a phenomenal book.
good book.
I'm
Okay.
shoving hard on this.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. You're good.
Oh,
You're good.
okay. Stop shoving hard.
Everything's together. Sorry. I'm just making sure all the handbrakes are.
All right.
Good.
Someone want to line us out of here and normal up
Yep.
the switches for the long run around and the main behind us.
On it.
All right.
Yeah.
See this? I like having 3-man crews. It'll be nice once we can do this. Yeah, I don't want to say for real, but without jitteriness.
I'm looking forward to being able to see an entire train.
I'm looking
'Cause-
forward to being able to hear an entire train coming from 2/3 of a mile away.
Also true. But yes, Mixed Train Daily, which folks who might not be familiar with it, a 1947 book by Lucius Beebe and Charles Clegg, considered a classic in railroad literature. Kind of a pioneer for the the idea of railroad photography book as coffee table book, which there's frankly too many of them, but this is a classic. There's a lot of text, valuable text to it. It documented railroads that frankly I'd never heard of, very obscure lines that were kind of a fading way of life. The mixed train itself being a way of life for communities that has really almost completely disappeared. You can find pockets of it, but it's very rare to find a true mixed train in this day and age. So, especially one that's actually revenue. Yes, there one up in Canada.
I can't think of anything in the States.
The Oil Creek and Titusville, which runs excursion trains, but also will pack freight cars onto its excursion trains. That's the one example I could think of.
Durango and Silverton technically runs a mixed train.
True.
Plus they will ship stuff in their boxcars, mostly for hikers. But they do use that as essentially freight. They'll deliver stuff to like the there's the zip lining course like halfway up to Silverton. That's you can only get to by train, so they'll deliver supplies to them by boxcar. That is the other technically mixed freight I can think of. Folks, you'll notice that I didn't touch my throttle once we started moving, and just let the train accelerate itself. And that's a big part of the name of the game here, Running Steam, as you know, trying to just keep connecting this to other topics that we've talked about. Trying to keep it kind of slow so that way my hind end brakey can hop on.
Yeah, so it's really interesting how interconnected it can all be when you're realizing one thing touches upon another.
Mm-hmm. That's yeah. That's why I keep trying to bring up other topics as we go. Squiggy, let me know when you're back on.
Well, I am afraid that I am going to have to sign off early, but it has been a joy as always to run on the Ahsokan, Mohonk, and Western as part of Railroaders Play Railroads Online. I look forward to joining all of you guys again next Wednesday.
Yes, we'll catch you next Wednesday, Nick. Thank you for coming out tonight. We'll see you then. I'll get the train back to the yard. I'll do our close. Anything important you want me to plug in the closing?
Well, for those who are live with us, I will be live streaming tomorrow on my YouTube channel. If you search Nick Ozrak, Ozorak, I will be live streaming what makes this layout great. We're going to be working on a Conrail model railroad, building it in a train simulator, Train Z specifically. And of course, you could always tune into the Roundhouse Podcast at theroundhousepodcast.com, where we talk to railroaders and people who have all sorts of different connection with the railroad industry and the hobby. Our slogan there is "You name it, and we discuss it."
There you have it, folks. Co-host Nick, all of the awesome things he does.
Take care, guys.
Nick, have a good night.
Good night.
I take it you're back on, Squiggy? Oh, Squiggy's gone too. Oh, nope, Squiggy's back. Squiggy?
Hey?
Hey, there you are. I take it you're on the train?
Yeah?
Alright, cool. Well, hope you're enjoying tonight, folks. You know, a little bit more of a loosey-goosey, stream, but, still we're covering a lot of good topics. We have a couple of old videos posted, on Twitch that you can, hop back and watch. I believe we, last ones were, what were the last ones we did? We did, train handling and steam locomotive basics. Check those out. A lot of good stuff in there. Little, yeah, I don't want to say more organized, but, we were talking about a lot more definitive, things, whereas the local's a very general subject matter that we've been just bouncing around topics on all night. It's the local's the way of life. In 2.5 hours, we've gone from our main yard of Hill Valley to the oil field, to the ironworks, back to the oil field, and now we're finally making it back to Hill Valley. So as you can see, the local takes time. It's the slowest train. We're what's called a Class 3 train, just kind of poking along. Even though it appears like we're moving at a pretty quick clip right now, we are still just poking along, all things considered. And we are streaming every Wednesday night at 7:30 here on the Virtual Railroader Academy, and we'll be talking about a variety of topics about how railroads function to give you insight on it. yeah, the locals cool. It's fun. If you get tired of point-to-point stuff and you like switching, you like uh, rearranging your trains, drilling stuff out, the locals where it's at. I can 100% recommend it. And if you're doing model railroad sessions or if you're setting up your railroads online world, think about instead of branch lines, having one interconnected main line connecting everything together, and using that as you know, delivering cars between industries and maybe having an engine at each industry, doing all the switching so that way you can drop stuff off and go. You can drop off cars at an industry, make pickups and go, and you're not spending time loading or whatever. It can make operation sessions more interesting. And we're here at the Stonewall Yard Board for Hill Valley Yard, our main yard here on the Soken, Mohawk, and Western. Also a long short to let people know we're coming in. And locals uses, no, every train uses whistle signals a lot. Local uses a lot. Oh boy, that was almost bad. I'll ease off on that throttle a bit. Lined into the arrival yard. Whistles will let people know we're coming in. And there's a, while we're coming in, pull up some whistle signals. Where's rule book for this railroad? So we have two longs. That's a proceed. Three shorts when you're running. That's a we're stopping at the next that's a stop at the next station. Four shorts means hey conductor, give me a signal here. Let me know what I'm supposed to be doing. You've heard this one a lot tonight, and that's with my flare. It's really long short approaching station, junction, or yard limits. I like to add my little flair to it because the steam engine's basically a giant musical instrument. But you've heard this one a lot. Too short, you're just acknowledging a signal. That's using the whistle a lot. And locals use it arguably more than anyone else because they have a lot of meets. They're going through yard limits a lot. You know, conductor, shack standing over there. You want get their attention. For like, hey, what's going on? We ready to move? Um, acknowledging your whistle, acknowledging their car counts or whatever. And I'm gonna try right now the thing I try every week and always do terribly at. Is power breaking in. So I've got a nice set on the train, working steam, and just dragging everything in, nice and easy, and hopefully we can drag it all down to a stop. Nice and smooth, so that way when I shut off my throttle, we come to a nice, gentle stop. Wow, that's a big set there. I back that guy off. And I think we'll keep coming a little bit further since I have the room. Make sure we're all the way in. You know, tonight I'm gonna have perfect power braking. It's the night no one is playing with me to see. No one else is in the game with me to see it, because that's how it goes. I'm just gonna shut off the throttle, and we'll see this drift down to a nice, easy stop. And grab another little bite on there. Help it ease down. and whistle to let everyone know we're stopped. And we actually did that perfectly. We ran it out of fire on our way in. That's kind of what you want to do, so that way the engine's not using steam as you're just sitting there. Because the engine will use steam as you're sitting there, because the water's still boiling and whatnot. So that'll use water and all that good stuff. So letting your fire die down as you're coming in is not a bad thing. So gonna run along here, get some handbrakes, make sure we're all tied down, take down our markers. And we're gonna get some switches behind us, clean up the yard. Excuse me. So what we're doing is a thing called normaling up the switch, and that's a thing locals do a lot. Every time you line a switch, you have to normal it. So normal route's usually the straight route, unless otherwise stated. So that's normal route. That's the diverging route. We have to set it back for the main line, so we set it back for the normal route. So that way the next train through on the main line doesn't run into a switch line against them. So as we're cleaning up here, we hope you enjoyed the stream tonight. I hope you learned a little bit about the local freight and why the local freight is cool. Personally, I love doing the locals. I find they're very interesting. And we will be streaming every Wednesday night at 7:30 from here on out. So tune in. Be sure to hit that follow button so that way you get notifications when we're live. And check out the link tree in the bio. Shoot us an email if you have any questions. Happy to answer them off stream, or if you want us to cover something that we haven't covered. Let us know. We want to do those things. We're here to educate you guys. So we want to know what's going to be worth it for you. We want to hear those things. We want to cover those topics. From all of us here at the Virtual Railroader Academy, myself, Nick Ozerak, thank you so much for watching. We hope you had a good time. We hope you learned a little bit. And yeah, maybe you'll consider how you set up your Railroads Online railroad when you build next time with the spline update, or you're going to reconsider how you're running your model railroad or whatever. But we hope you learned something tonight. We hope you had fun. And we will catch you next week at 7:30. Thank you all so much for watching, and good night.